Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learn English with Anaya. I'm Anaya, and I'm really happy you're here with us today. If you enjoy learning natural English through simple conversations, make sure you subscribe so you can keep practicing with us.
And I'm Leo. I'm ready to learn something useful today.
Perfect. Leo, let me ask you something. When you were younger, was there someone you really respected? Maybe someone you wanted to be like?
Definitely. My older cousin. He worked hard, helped everyone in the family, and somehow stayed calm even when things went wrong.
So you admired him.
Yes. I thought he was a really good example for me.
Then there's a very natural phrase you can use. You can say, I looked up to my older cousin.
Ah, look up to. I've heard that a lot.
You will hear it all the time in real conversations. When you look up to someone, you respect or admire that person, and admire simply means you think someone is good, strong, kind, talented, inspiring, or a great example.
So if I respect my dad because he works hard, I can say, I look up to my dad.
Exactly. And notice that this phrase is usually positive. You're talking about someone you respect.
Okay, so I could say, I really look up to my dad.
Perfect. That sounds very natural.
What about my little sister looks up to me?
Yes, and now you've used another important form. With he, she, or it, we say looks. So she looks up to her older sister, or he looks up to his coach.
I think I'm getting it.
Let's make the basic idea very simple. First, use look up to when you respect or admire a person.
A person.
Right. Second, the structure is look up to plus a person. I look up to my mother, she looks up to her teacher.
And the word to is important.
Very important. Third, we usually use this phrase for people, not objects.
So I shouldn't say, I look up to my phone.
Only if your phone has become your life coach.
Mine mostly tells me my battery's low.
Then maybe don't choose your phone as a role model.
Fair enough.
And fourth, we often use look up to when talking about role models. A role model is someone whose behavior or success inspires you. That could be a parent, teacher, older sibling, coach, leader, friend, or someone successful in your community.
Could it also be someone famous?
Absolutely. You might look up to an athlete because of how hard she trains. You might look up to an actor because of the way he helps people. You might look up to a business leader because of how she treats her employees.
So it isn't only about success.
Exactly. That's important. You can admire someone because they're successful, but you can also look up to someone because they're kind, honest, patient, or hardworking.
I like that.
Here's a natural sentence. I don't look up to him because he's rich. I look up to him because he's kind.
That sounds like something people would really say.
They do. Now let's look at a few useful forms. Tell me about your mother.
I look up to my mother because she's very patient.
Great. Now imagine you're talking about a girl and her teacher.
She look up to her teacher.
Almost. Remember, with she, we need looks. Say it again.
She looks up to her teacher.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the past. Maybe there was a basketball player you admired when you were a teenager.
I looked up to him when I was younger.
Exactly. Looked up to is the past form.
And if I respected my older brother before and I still respect him now, I can say, I've always looked up to my older brother.
I've always looked up to my older brother.
Beautiful. And if you want to ask another person?
Who do you look up to?
Exactly. That's a fantastic conversation question. What if I want to describe someone without saying the relationship first?
You can say, he's someone I look up to.
Oh, I like that. My old teacher is someone I look up to.
Perfect.
Let me try another one. I look up my teacher because she works hard.
Ah, there's a common learner mistake.
I knew something was wrong.
You need the word to. I look up to my teacher means you admire your teacher.
So I look up my teacher is wrong.
If you mean admire, yes. But this is where English gets interesting. Look up something without to can mean search for information.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. I don't know that word, so I'll look it up online.
Ah, so look up to someone means admire someone, but look up something means search for information.
Exactly.
Let me try. I looked up the restaurant address.
Perfect. You searched for the address.
I look up to my coach.
Perfect again. You admire your coach.
Okay, what about I look up to my homework?
Do you admire your homework, Leo?
Not even a little.
Then no.
I thought so.
Remember, we normally use look up to with people.
What about I look up to become successful?
That doesn't work either. After look up to, we normally need the person you admire. For example, I look up to successful people who help others.
Got it. The person comes after to.
Exactly. Let's do a quick check. Can we say, I look up to my laptop?
No, a laptop isn't a person.
Correct. Next one. A lot of students look up to that teacher. Natural or not?
Natural. They respect that teacher.
Exactly. How about she looked up to her coach when she was younger?
Also correct. That's past tense.
Great. One more. If I say, I looked up the coach's phone number, am I saying I admire the coach?
No, you searched for the coach's phone number.
Excellent. You've got the difference.
Finally, English hasn't defeated me today.
Not today. Can we hear more examples from real life? Of course. Imagine a family dinner. Someone says, I've always looked up to my grandfather. He worked hard and always took care of his family.
Very natural.
At school, a student might say, a lot of students look up to that teacher because she listens to us.
At work, maybe, my manager is someone I look up to. She stays calm under pressure.
Exactly. A friend could say, I look up to people who work hard and stay humble.
And in sports, she looked up to her coach.
Yes. Or, young players really look up to him.
What about parents?
Kids often look up to their parents, and a parent might say, I want to be someone my children can look up to.
That one feels a little emotional.
It does, because this phrase often tells us what kind of person someone wants to become.
Could I say, my friend volunteers every weekend. That's why so many people look up to her.
That's excellent.
I'm improving.
You are. And here's a question for everyone listening. Who do you look up to? Is it your mother, your father, a teacher, a friend, a coach, an older brother or sister, or maybe someone famous?
Try saying one sentence out loud.
Start with, I look up to.
I look up to my older brother because he never gives up.
Great example. You can also say, I really look up to my dad. She looks up to her older sister. He's someone I look up to. Or ask, who did you look up to as a kid?
That last question would be great with friends.
Definitely. It can start a really meaningful conversation.
So the big idea is pretty simple.
Very simple. Look up to means to respect or admire someone. We normally use it with people. Remember the to. I look up to my teacher, and don't confuse it with look up something, which means search for information.
I look up to my teacher, but I look up a word.
Exactly.
That little word to changes everything.
It really does. So before we continue, think of one person you respect. Say their name and complete this sentence out loud. I look up to blank because blank. Leo, let's make this phrase even more useful by putting it into real conversations.
Good, because understanding a phrase is one thing, but using it naturally is harder.
Exactly. And with look up to, the best practice is to connect it to real people in your life.
So not random textbook people like Mr. Brown and Mrs. Green.
They've had enough English lessons.
Finally, they can rest.
Let's start with family. Imagine someone asks you, who do you look up to in your family?
I'd probably say, I really look up to my mom because she works hard and always helps us.
Perfect. Notice how natural that sounds. You don't need a complicated reason. You can simply say why you respect that person.
Could I say, I look up to my older sister because she's very independent?
Absolutely. Independent means she can take care of herself and make her own decisions.
My younger cousin actually looks up to his older brother.
Great sentence.
He copies everything his brother does.
That happens a lot. Younger children often look up to older siblings because they think they're cool, confident, or experienced.
Even when the older brother isn't that cool.
We won't tell him that.
Good idea.
Now let's move to school. Imagine you had a teacher who really helped you when you were struggling.
I could say I looked up to my English teacher because she never gave up on her students.
Excellent. And because you're talking about the past, looked up to is exactly right.
Can I say, when I was in high school, I was looking up to my math teacher?
Grammatically, that form is possible in some situations, but here it sounds less natural. For a general feeling of respect over time, we usually say, I looked up to my math teacher.
So simple past is better.
Yes, I looked up to him when I was in school. Sounds very natural.
What about now? I still look up to him.
Perfect. That means you respected him before, and you continue to respect him now.
Nice.
Quick check. If you admired your coach when you were 10, which sounds better? I look up to my coach when I was 10, or I looked up to my coach when I was 10.
I looked up to my coach when I was 10.
Exactly.
I am starting to notice the tense more.
Good. Now imagine work. Maybe you have a coworker who's experienced, kind, and always willing to help.
There's a woman at my office who I really look up to.
Very natural.
Or my team leader is someone I look up to.
Exactly. That pattern, someone I look up to, is especially useful.
Could I say my boss is someone to whom I look up?
You could, but please don't unless you're writing something very formal.
So that's English from another century.
It's correct, but in everyday conversation, he's someone I look up to is much more natural.
Good. I'll keep my English in this century.
Please do.
Can we use the phrase for friends, too?
Definitely. Maybe your friend went through a difficult time but stayed positive. You could say, I really look up to her. She's been through a lot, but she never stops helping other people.
So the person doesn't need to be older than me.
Exactly. That's a common misunderstanding. You can look up to someone who was older, younger, or the same age as you.
Really? I could look up to someone younger than me?
Of course. Age doesn't matter. If you admire their character, talent, courage, or hard work, you can look up to them.
That's useful. I always thought look up somehow meant they had to be older or more important.
No, the phrase is about respect, not physical height, age, or status.
So I can look up to someone shorter than me.
Yes, Lero.
I needed to confirm that.
I had a feeling you would.
Let me try another sentence. I look up to my friend because she started her own business and works really hard.
Excellent.
I look up to her success.
There's another small mistake.
Because success isn't a person?
Exactly. We usually say, I admire her success, but I look up to her.
Ah, so admire can sometimes go directly with a thing like someone's work or success.
Right. You can admire someone's courage, work, talent, or success, but look up to normally points to the person.
That difference is really helpful.
Let's practice with sports. Imagine a young basketball player talking about a professional athlete.
I've always looked up to him because he works hard and stays focused.
Perfect. And if many young players admire the same athlete...
A lot of young players look up to him.
Exactly.
What about a coach?
She looked up to her coach when she was younger, or her coach is still someone she looks up to.
I like the second one.
Now let's talk about successful people. Sometimes learners think we only look up to people because they have money or fame.
But that's not always true.
Right. You might say, I don't look up to her just because she's successful. I look up to her because she treats people well.
That sounds much more personal.
It does. And native speakers often use the phrase that way. They explain the quality they admire.
Like, I look up to people who stay kind even when they become successful.
Beautiful sentence. Or I look up to people who work hard without showing off.
Very natural. Can I say, I look up to kind people?
Yes, that works because people refers to persons.
I look up to kindness.
Not usually. Better, I admire kindness, or I look up to kind people.
Got it.
Quick check for everyone listening. Which one sounds natural? I look up to her courage, or I look up to her because she is courageous.
I look up to her because she is courageous.
Exactly.
I'm starting to get good at these.
Let's test that confidence. Say you need to find the meaning of a word.
I look up the word.
Confidence disappeared quickly.
I knew that one was wrong.
You'd say, I look the word up, or more naturally, I look the word up.
Because I'm searching for information.
Right. But if you respect your teacher, I look up to my teacher.
Let me compare them. I looked up my teacher online.
Good. That means you searched for information about your teacher.
I looked up to my teacher when I was a student.
Also good. That means you admired your teacher.
Wow, just one little "to."
And a completely different meaning.
English likes small traps.
Think of them as small puzzles.
That sounds nicer.
Let's do another quick check. I'll give you a situation and you make a sentence. Your grandfather was honest, hardworking, and kind.
I've always looked up to my grandfather.
Great! Your little niece admires her teacher.
She looks up to her teacher.
Perfect. You respected a famous athlete when you were a child.
I looked up to that athlete when I was a kid.
Exactly. Your son admires you, and you want to continue being a good example for him.
I want to be someone my son can look up to.
Excellent. That sentence is very common and very meaningful.
Because now I'm not talking about who I admire, I'm talking about being a good example for someone else.
Exactly. A parent might say, I want my children to have someone they can look up to.
A teacher could probably say that too.
Definitely. A teacher, coach, older sibling, mentor, or community leader might feel the same way.
What exactly is a mentor?
A mentor is someone with more experience who gives you advice and helps you grow.
So I could say, my mentor is someone I really look up to.
Perfect.
And maybe I look up to him not only because he's successful, but because he helps younger people.
Very natural.
That sentence feels useful for real conversation.
It is. And here's another pattern you'll hear. That's one of the reasons I look up to her.
Can you give me a situation?
Sure. She works full-time, takes care of her family, and still makes time to help her neighbors. That's one of the reasons I look up to her.
Nice, so we can explain the reason first and then use the phrase.
Exactly. Or you can say, that's why so many people look up to her.
Like, she never treats anyone badly, even when she's stressed. That's why so many people look up to her.
Excellent.
Let me ask everyone listening something. Who did you look up to when you were a kid?
Great question. Maybe it was a parent, an older sibling, a teacher, a coach, or even a neighbor who always helped your family.
And maybe that person is still someone you look up to today.
Exactly. Try saying two sentences out loud. When I was younger, I looked up to, and then today I look up to.
That's actually a good way to practice the past and present together.
Yes, and make your reason personal. You might say, I look up to my aunt because she's strong and generous. Or I've always looked up to my coach because he believed in me.
So we don't need complicated English.
Not at all. Natural English is often simple English used in the right situation.
And now when I hear look up to, I won't imagine someone staring at the ceiling.
That is progress.
Serious progress.
Before we move on, here's a final practice question. Think of someone whose character inspires you. What quality makes you look up to that person? Leo, now I want to help you use look up to in longer, more natural conversations.
Good. I can make the basic sentence, but sometimes I don't know what to say after it.
That's very normal. A useful trick is to add a reason. Start with I look up to, and then explain why.
Like, I look up to my dad because he works hard.
Exactly. Or I look up to my sister because she always supports our family.
So the reason makes the sentence feel more personal.
Yes. And you can talk about character, not just achievements.
Character means the kind of person someone is, right?
Exactly. Maybe they're kind, honest, patient, brave, responsible, or generous.
Generous means they like helping or giving to other people.
Right. So you could say, I really look up to my aunt because she's incredibly generous.
What if someone is very successful, but I mainly respect how they treat people?
You can say, I look up to her, but not just because she's successful. I admire the way she treats people.
That sounds natural.
Or even, I don't look up to him because he's rich. I look up to him because he stayed humble.
Humble means he doesn't act like he's better than everyone else.
Exactly.
I think that's an important point. Sometimes people assume success automatically means respect.
Right, but look up to is personal. Different people admire different qualities.
Can we practice with a conversation?
Sure, I'll ask you naturally. Leo, who you look up to in your family?
I've always looked up to my older brother.
Why?
Because he's responsible. When our family needs help, he's usually the first person there.
Perfect. That sounds like a real conversation.
Your turn. Who do you look up to?
I look up to one of my former teachers.
Why her?
She was very patient with students who struggled. She never made anyone feel embarrassed for making a mistake.
That's a good teacher.
Exactly. That's why so many students looked up to her.
Wait, you said looked up to her because you're talking about the past.
Good catch. The students admired her at that time, so looked up to works. But if they still admire her today, we could also say a lot of her former students still look up to her.
So tense depends on the time.
Exactly.
Let me try something harder. When I was a child, I have always looked up to my father.
That's a common mistake. If you say when I was a child and you're talking only about that finished time in the past, use looked up to.
So, when I was a child, I looked up to my father.
Correct. But if the admiration started in the past and continues now, you can say, I've always looked up to my father.
Without when I was a child.
Exactly.
That's much clearer.
Quick quiz. Which sentence is better if you still admire your sister today? I looked up to my sister, or I've always looked up to my sister?
I've always looked up to my sister.
Perfect.
And if I admired my baseball coach when I was 12, but I don't really know him anymore?
I looked up to my baseball coach when I was 12.
Got it.
Now let's practice another very common question. Who did you look up to growing up?
Growing up means during the time when I was a child and becoming an adult.
Exactly. So, who did you look up to growing up?
I looked up to one of my uncles. He didn't have an easy life, but he worked hard and stayed positive.
Very natural.
Could I ask, who were you looking up to growing up?
People might understand it, but for this general meaning, who did you look up to growing up is much more natural.
Okay, who did you look up to growing up?
Perfect. That's a great question to use with friends.
What about celebrities? Can I say, I look up to that singer because I love her music?
You can, but be careful with the meaning. Loving someone's music doesn't always mean you look up to the person.
Ah, because look up to is stronger than just liking someone's work.
Exactly. You might love a singer's songs, but know nothing about her as a person.
So maybe I'm a big fan of her music is better.
Yes. But if you admire her hard work, kindness, or how she handles her career, then I look up to her makes sense.
That's a really useful difference.
The same thing happens with athletes. You might enjoy watching a player, but I look up to him means you respect him as a person or as an example.
So fan of and look up to aren't exactly the same.
Right. You can be a fan without seeing someone as a role model.
Quick quiz me.
Okay, you love a comedian because he makes you laugh, but you don't know much about him personally. Would I look up to him definitely be the best phrase?
Not necessarily. I could say, I'm a fan of him, or I really like his comedy.
Exactly. Next one. Your younger brother watches how you behave and tries to be like you.
My younger brother looks up to me.
Exactly.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
It can be. And that gives us another natural sentence. I want to be a good example because my little brother looks up to me.
Nice.
Or a father might say, my kids look up to me, so I try to make good choices.
That sounds very real.
Let's add a few more phrases you can keep ready in your mind. If someone has inspired you for many years, say, I've always looked up to her.
If it's a person I respect now, he's someone I really look up to.
Good. If many people admire someone, a lot of people look up to him.
If I want to explain a reason, that's why I look up to her.
Exactly. And if someone was your role model in childhood, I looked up to him when I was younger.
If I'm asking someone else, who do you look up to?
Perfect. And for childhood, who did you look up to as a kid?
These are actually easy once you see the patterns.
That's the goal. You don't need to memorize 20 complicated rules. You need a few strong patterns you can use again and again.
I have one final mistake for you.
I'm ready.
I look my brother up to.
You've moved every word into the wrong neighborhood.
But all the words are there.
Unfortunately, English cares about the address.
Fair point.
Keep the phrase together, look up to. Then add the person. I look up to my brother.
I look up to my brother.
Perfect.
And I looked my brother up would mean I searched for information about him.
Exactly. Maybe you searched his name online.
So let me give the final difference. I look up to my brother means I admire him. I looked my brother up online means I searched information about him.
Excellent. That difference will save you from a lot of confusion.
And possibly some strange conversations.
Definitely.
Imagine telling your boss, I looked you up to.
Let's not create that situation.
Agreed.
Before we finish, let's recap everything simply. Look up to someone means to respect or admire that person.
We usually use it for people, not things.
Right. And remember the word to. I look up to my mother. She looks up to her teacher.
For the past, I looked up to him when I was younger.
And if the feeling started in the past and continues now, you can say, I've always looked up to my older brother.
We can ask, who do you look up to? Or who did you look up to as a kid?
And don't confuse look up to someone with look up something.
Look up to someone means admire. Look up something means search for information.
Exactly. And remember, you can look up to someone because they're successful, but you can also admire them because they're kind, responsible, patient, brave, or hardworking.
Sometimes the best role models aren't famous at all.
Absolutely. They might be people you see every day.
Your mother, your teacher, your neighbor, your coach, your friend.
Or someone who simply showed you what kind of person you want to become.
I like that.
Now it's your turn. Say this sentence out loud. I look up to, and fill in the blank with a real person in your life.
And try another one. When I was younger, I looked up to.
Excellent practice. If today's conversation helped you understand this phrase more naturally, subscribe to Learn English with Anaya so you can keep building your real-life English with us.
Keep practicing even if your sentences aren't perfect the first time.
Exactly. Every time you use a new phrase in a real sentence, it becomes easier to remember.
Thanks for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in the next conversation.
Bye, everyone!
Bye.